Today, we will explore the 9 things people see at the moment of their death. When a loved one passes, their families are filled with questions. How will they feel? Will they be at peace? Are they okay? There are memories that hurt, and at the same time, we hold the emptiness in our hearts as a reflection of the love that was shared. Love never dies, it merely changes form. If you have lost a loved one, perhaps when you close your eyes, you can still feel their presence. Certainly, when you think of your loved one, your heart fills with pain. If you have ever felt this way, this video is for you. Today, I will share the 9 things that people physically see at the moment of death. The information in this video comes directly from the Bible and from accounts of people who have had a near-death experience, also known by the acronym NDE. These individuals occasionally experience clinical death but return to life, able to recount their observations during this brief passage. Initially, they encounter their deceased loved ones, awaiting to lead them towards a serene and joyful light. Picture a beloved individual on their deathbed, their eyes shut in this realm, only to open anew in another dimension. In this liminal space between existence and the beyond, familiar faces materialize. The departed ones are not mere figments of imagination or illusions, but tangible presences, awaiting with an acceptance of their inevitable departure. This realm they inhabit is under divine protection, for God is not a deity of the deceased, but of the living, as all remain alive in his presence. As Ecclesiastes notes, the spirit returns to its source, where cherished ones reside. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. The departing individual distinctly perceives the presence of these departed loved ones, offering guidance without fear or solitude, only an inexplicable tranquility bathed in a comforting light. Psalm 36 further reinforces this belief. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light, we see light. Some accounts mention that when the deceased glimpses the light, those around them sense a delicate floral fragrance permeating the room. This aroma serves as a subtle sign, a whisper from beyond, a manifestation of spirits arriving to escort their loved one to a place of peace. I would like to take a moment to urge you to share your thoughts in the comments, as it can greatly support others grappling with the loss of their dear ones. Express how deeply you miss that person. Many viewers may be enduring challenging times due to a recent loss, and reading about your experiences can offer immense comfort, letting them know they are not alone. By sharing, you can extend solace to others who view this content, fostering a sense of unity and understanding among those facing similar circumstances. For example, you can describe the pain you felt or feel in losing someone close, what you did to overcome the loss, or even explain what advice from others helped you at the time. Your comment could help many of us. Now, continuing, we were talking about how sometimes when a loved one passes, those around them can detect a slight smell of flowers. This is a moment full of tension and drama, a clash between the earthly and the divine that forces us to reflect on the fragility of our existence and what really matters at the end of the road. For in these last moments, riches, achievements, and daily concerns fade away. Only love remains, the invisible bond that unites those who departed before us. And so at the moment of death we face a truth we all must confront. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. There is nothing more powerful than the love that transcends death, a love that knows no limits or boundaries, and in the end, we all meet in that light, guided by those who preceded us. Because death is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. Number 2, a sense of detachment from material possessions. Secondly, another sensation that patients nearing death experience is that all the things they owned in life, all material possessions, become unimportant. This is positive because it means they don't cling to anything and can transcend directly without any problem. Envision the final exhalation of a cherished individual, that instant when all familiarities dissolve into nothingness. During that precise juncture when life slips away like grains of sand through fingers, an extraordinary phenomenon unfolds within the material realm. all that once held significance loses its worth. The beloved home, the meticulously tended car, the jewels, accolades, and accomplishments all fade into insignificance in a single breath. None of these worldly possessions retain importance. It's as if, in the face of death, a hidden truth is unveiled, a truth often disregarded throughout our existence. As one approaches death, a stark truth commandeers their consciousness. It is at this juncture that they grasp the ephemeral nature of possessions, wealth, and acquisitions amassed through toil. Mere phantoms, illusions devoid of substance at the threshold between life and death. For we arrived in this world empty-handed, and it is certain we shall depart likewise. This realization echoes powerfully as the dying individual relinquishes all material attachments. It signifies a liberation, a definitive separation from the terrestrial realm, enabling a transition unencumbered toward the unknown. It encapsulates a moment of unadulterated, unfiltered truth. All that was ardently pursued, all that once elicited concern, simply dissipates. The crux lies not in tangible assets, not in the grand estate, nor the wealth amassed in vaults, nor the possessions that once defined one's persona. What does it avail a person to gain the entire world but forfeit their soul? This inquiry suddenly assumes profound importance. Ultimately, all that endures is the naked soul, unshackled from worldly bonds. Herein lies a reflection that resonates universally. Ultimately, all that persists transcends the material, something that exceeds the physical realm. It embodies a sentiment collectively shared, albeit occasionally obscured amidst the clamor of daily existence. Death serves as a stark reminder of this verity, one impossible to overlook. At that instant, we comprehend that genuine wealth lies not in possessions, but in essence, in the treasures harbored within our hearts and souls. This detachment, this abandonment of the material, is a curse but also a blessing. It allows us to cross to the other side without burdens, without weights that sink us into darkness. It prepares us for a meeting with the eternal, with the divine. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. In death, this teaching becomes true. It is then that the light shines brightest. When the soul is free from bondage, it ascends towards the infinite. This is the final act of liberation. At the end of the road, only what truly matters remains. The material dissolves, and the soul prepares for the great journey. It's a reminder to all of us that, in life, the essential isn't in what we own, but in what we are, in the love we give, and the peace we carry with us. Because in the end, that is the only wealth we can carry. Let's continue with the third thing that people see when they die. Number 3, they see their own body from above. Thirdly, when they die physically, people often see their body from above, observing all the people present. They see those around them crying, suffering, and witness everything that happens around them. In that moment, they perceive everything, hear everything, and feel everything. They may even say goodbye to their loved ones. Imagine for a moment that life, with all its pain and beauty, comes to an end. Your loved one takes their last breath, and what happens next is something beyond the imaginable. Suddenly, your loved one is no longer in their body, but they haven't completely disappeared either. They find themselves floating, suspended in a space between life and the eternal. From above, they see their motionless body, surrounded by faces full of pain, tears, and despair. But your loved one is somewhere else, a place from where they observe what happens as a spectator at their own death. This instant stands as one of the most jolting experiences a person encounters post-mortem, for a lifeless body devoid of spirit is but an empty vessel. Now stripped of the corporeal form that served as their abode for years, your beloved transforms into pure essence. From this elevated perspective, they perceive with a clarity previously unattainable. They witness their loved ones, their anguish, their tears, and absorb their pain as if it were their own. It's a heart-wrenching yet profoundly enlightening moment. To share tears with those in sorrow epitomizes the love enveloping them, a love so profound that tears flow like rain. You come to understand the depth of their affection and the irreplaceable void your departure has left behind. Yet there is more. From this vantage point of observation, your loved one might bid farewell, expressing a final adieu. Though devoid of verbal expression, the message transcends human language, conveyed through the language of the soul. The spirit itself testifies to our own spirits. This testament is profound, brimming with love, gratitude, and serenity. It's a silent farewell that resonates deeply within the hearts of those they leave behind. The spirit of your beloved communicates with the spirits of the living, bearing witness to their ultimate goodbye. Here contemplation arises, unveiling a truth intrinsic to us all, though often concealed deep within our essence. Death is not a conclusion, but a transition, a metamorphosis. In this moment, as your loved one gazes from above, they comprehend that life's worth is not gauged by the span of years lived, but by the love shared, the connections forged, and the imprint left on those who mourn their absence. "Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on," resonates a voice from the heavens. "Yes," confirms the Spirit, "they will find rest from their toils, for their deeds shall accompany them." What your beloved observes from their celestial perch reflects the life they led. It marks a moment of personal reckoning, not of judgment, but of unadulterated truth. In that instance, they grasp the essence of what truly holds significance: love, empathy, memories. Although they have transcended their physical form, their presence lingers robustly. The spirit bids adieu but does not dissipate, leaving an enduring imprint on the hearts of those who cherish them. This juncture brims with tension, brimming with emotions, yet also imbued with profound peace. In that silent farewell, your loved one comprehends that even though earthly life has concluded, love endures, unyielding and eternal. This eternal verity, which surpasses death, stands as the ultimate truth of all. Number 4, they visit the dreams of living people to say goodbye. Sometimes after people die, they remain for a short period in this plane. They do this to visit places they need or wish to see for various reasons. One of these reasons is to say goodbye to other family members who were not present when they departed and want to offer them peace. Thus, there are cases where people see relatives in dreams or feel their presence without knowing that they have already passed away. Just at the moment when they see them, the person who just died travels as an energy that touches the dreams of the people they love. Your loved one felt their last breath escape from their body, and at that moment, everything changed. They were no longer a prisoner of pain, nor the weight of flesh. Now they were light, pure energy. But they did not leave immediately. Something kept them in this world, a force stronger than death itself, love. From this fresh vantage point, your cherished one beheld the world with crystal clear clarity. They understood that they had shed their earthly form, but were not yet prepared to depart entirely. There lingered destinations to visit, farewells yet to be bid. It was as though a final duty awaited completion, a sacred task preceding their journey to the beyond. Initially, they sought out their sister. Absent from the room at the moment of his passing, this fact had weighed heavily on her. Discovering her in slumber, her visage marked by exhaustion from ceaseless weeping, he drew near. Though devoid of spoken words, his mere presence conveyed all. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. He bore no angelic guise, yet his purpose in that instant was to bestow solace and tranquility. Even in her sleep, his sister felt a sudden release, a serenity that washed over her. In that fleeting moment, assurance dawned upon her. It wasn't solely for his benefit. He understood that there were others awaiting their farewells, perhaps unaware themselves. The long-lost cousin, the ever-remembered old friend, each received a final imprint of his essence. He manifested in dreams or in a gentle breeze, and though consciously unrecognized, deep within their spirits, they comprehended that this visit marked his parting on the ultimate pilgrimage. He grasped a truth unseen in life, that death marked not a conclusion but a transition. Love, unending like energy or light, flowed through the realms and souls he cherished. leaving a glimmer of his affection in each. He knew that when he ultimately crossed over, these glimmers would persist, illuminating the hearts of those he bid adieu. The hour arrived for your beloved. He tendered his farewells, proffered solace, and concluded all narratives. Now beckoned by the eternal, a profound serenity beckoned him to repose. With a final glance, he surrendered himself to the embrace of the light, acknowledging the fulfillment of his mission, assured that God would wipe away every tear, and that there would be no more death, sorrow, crying, or pain. Former tribulations now faded into oblivion, vanishing into the radiance. His essence, his love, and the imprints he left endure in this realm, in the hearts of those he forever touched. Number 5. Viewing their own life as a movie. In 5th place, as they transcend, people begin to see their life as if it were a movie. Both good and bad moments present themselves, and they ponder whether they enjoyed life and were happy. This is shown to them so they can relive these significant moments and truly understand what their life on this plane was like. Your beloved transitioned across the threshold, that dividing line between mortal existence and the eternal realm. Instead of dissolving into oblivion, they now inhabit a different dimension, where time flows in a manner distinct from earthly perception, where past and present blend in a seamless tapestry of recollections. In this state, a profound and enlightening occurrence unfolds. The life of your loved one unfurls like a cinematic reel before them, a series of vivid images, sounds, and emotions. Every instant, from their earliest childhood memories to their final breath, plays out before them with poignant clarity. Here there are no falsehoods or deceptions. Everything is laid bare in its unadulterated truth, for there is nothing concealed that will not be unveiled, no secret that will not come to light. This is raw reality, the culmination of a life exposed in its entirety. Your cherished one witnesses the joyous occasions, those moments of unbridled happiness when laughter echoed through the halls and love felt infinite. Yet, they also confront the challenging times, the errors, decisions made in shadows, and words they wish they could retract. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or bad. It is not a judgment in the punitive sense, but rather a reflection, an opportunity to truly grasp the essence of the life they led. They ponder whether they found contentment, whether they cherished each day, whether they loved wholeheartedly and lived with purpose. This introspection delves deep into the core of their being because, ultimately, what counts is not just the actions taken, but how life was embraced. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. In this interstitial realm, what they seek is the wisdom born of a life well lived. Amidst this reflection, your loved one comes to a profound realization. Life was not flawless, but it brimmed with moments that defined their very essence. The laughter, the tears, the victories, and the defeats all carry significance, a meaning that might have eluded them in life but now shines with striking clarity. In this ultimate reckoning, your beloved is not solitary. The divine presence walks alongside them, shepherding them through this voyage of self-examination. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. From inception to conclusion, God bore witness to every instant, and now he unveils the complete truth of your loved one's existence. At the culmination of this appraisal, your cherished one comprehends that joy was not a destination but a path traversed, that true wealth lay not in material possessions but in shared experiences, in acts of love, and in the pursuit of inner tranquility. With this realization, they find peace, prepared to continue their odyssey towards the eternal, acknowledging that their imperfect life was lived to the fullest. Thus, with this ultimate revelation, your loved one bids adieu to this realm with a sense of fulfillment, for despite the challenges, every moment held value. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. And now, with a light heart and a serene spirit, your beloved strides towards the awaiting light. Number 6. Seeing an intense light. Those who have had near-death experiences often describe seeing a great light, a feeling of profound peace, or a vision of a beautiful place. a paradise they do not wish to leave, but from which they must return because their time has not yet come. However, for those whose time has come, this light is the place they must go, the place they will be guided to, and where they will dwell in that beautiful place spoken of. Your beloved has encountered that juncture common to all, the precise moment when mortal life fades away and eternity unfurls like an expansive horizon. There lingered no trepidation, only a profound serenity that embraced their essence. Abruptly, a radiance enveloped them. This was no ordinary illumination. It gleamed brilliantly, exuded warmth, and saturated everything around. Each fiber of their being seemed irresistibly drawn towards it, propelled by a force mightier than any encountered in their earthly journey. Drawing nearer to this luminance, unveiled a realm of ineffable splendor, a paradise, a sanctuary of tranquility where time holds no sway, and anguish and affliction are mere echoes of the past. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. This was the place that had been prepared for them, the final destination where they would find eternal rest. Your loved one felt an immense peace, something they had never experienced on earth. There was no urgency, no rush. The past, with all its struggles and anxieties, disappeared, replaced by a serenity that completely enveloped them. It was as if every wound, every pain was dissolved in the light, leaving only the pure essence of their being. For many individuals who have undergone near-death encounters, glimpsing that radiant light and celestial abode is but a fleeting moment, a transient rendezvous before being beckoned back to earthly existence. Yet, for your cherished one, there existed no return. That marked the definitive instant of their terrestrial voyage, and the genesis of an everlasting sojourn in that heavenly realm so frequently referenced in Christian lore. The occurrence of beholding a luminous presence in the throes of death is construed as an encounter with the divine, the magnificence of God, or the ingress into his celestial realm. This radiant glow symbolizes God's benevolent guidance and boundless affection. Though the Bible does not explicitly delineate the phenomenon of encountering light in death, it furnishes numerous verses that aid in comprehending this concept within the Christian doctrine. In the scriptures, God is depicted as luminescence. This effulgence epitomizes his sanctity, purity, and magnificence. In the Gospel of John, it is proclaimed that God is light, devoid of any shadows. This light embodies the veracity and eternal life extended by God to all who hold faith. When an individual on their deathbed perceives a luminosity, Christians interpret this as an approach towards the Creator, depicted as an immaculate and resplendent entity. Jesus identifies himself as the illuminator of the world in the Gospel of John, stating, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." This verse underscores that those who followed Christ in life shall not stumble in darkness upon death, but shall be led by the light towards eternal salvation. The vision of light in the final moments can be construed as the realization of the pledge of being ushered into the kingdom of God. In the book of Revelation, which delineates the New Jerusalem, it is described as a city transcending the need for sun or moon, as the glory of God radiates within it, and the Lamb illuminates it. This apocalyptic imagery reinforces the notion that the light witnessed by the departing soul serves as a glimpse of God's magnificence, a reception into his divine abode in paradise. As your beloved advanced towards that celestial light, clarity enveloped everything. They comprehended that life on earth was a mere prelude, a phase preceding the attainment of this ultimate destination. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. Here, in this realm of serenity, they grasped that the true essence of existence lay in readying oneself for this juncture, to arrive at this place where the spirit discovers its eternal dwelling. Thus, with a final glance at the world left behind, your loved one surrendered fully to the radiance. There existed no sorrow, no poignant farewells, only a profound sense of accomplishment for fulfilling their purpose. In that moment they recognized they were precisely where they belonged, in the abode where they would dwell eternally in peace and concord. Number 7, the purpose of life. In 7th place, our loved ones discover significant revelations about their existence and purpose. They learn that everything they experienced was for their benefit and spiritual evolution, that nothing happens by chance, and that everything was a choice. Then they realize that their path has been fruitful, that their spiritual evolution has been considerable. Your beloved has transcended the veil of mortality and now resides in a realm where the constraints of time and space give way to pure awareness. Here, pain and bewilderment cease to exist, replaced by a profound lucidity that unveils profound truths about the life they once inhabited. In this ethereal state, a realization dawns upon them with an intensity previously unfathomed. Every single occurrence held purpose. Drifting in this novel plane of existence, a profound epiphany unfurls before them. Every instance of their existence, from the seemingly trivial to the profoundly meaningful, intricately wove into a grand design. Nothing occurred by chance. Each event had its appointed time, for everything under the heavens has its season. They now grasp that every joy, every sorrow, and every choice made contributed to a grander scheme they themselves orchestrated before their earthly inception. They come to discern that their life was not merely a succession of days, but a pilgrimage towards spiritual enlightenment. The hurdles surmounted, the adversities faced were not punitive measures or mere strokes of misfortune, but rather opportunities for enlightenment, chances to refine the soul like a diamond shaped under pressure. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. They recognized that this endeavor was their personal spiritual advancement, and each stride in their journey was a step towards refining their essence. The weight of this revelation is profound. It marks a moment of profound introspection, where the consequences of their actions and experiences bear down upon them. Was their life fruitful? Did they fulfill the purpose for which they entered the world? And then, with crystal clarity, they realized that indeed their life was a triumph. Not in the conventional sense that society might measure, but in terms of the soul. Their essence burgeoned, progressed, and they imbibed the teachings destined for them. This realization triggers deep contemplation. They acknowledge that in the course of life, one can easily be swayed by superficialities, forgetting that existence transcends mere subsistence. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. In that moment, they comprehend that true metamorphosis isn't achieved through amassing wealth or seeking accolades, but by nurturing the spirit, by loving, forgiving, and by discovering inner peace. With each revelation that enfolds them, there exists no room for uncertainty or remorse, only a profound awareness that every experience they underwent served a purpose. Every tear shed, every smile shared, every act of affection, and every misstep taken were vital fragments of a puzzle they now behold in its entirety. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. In death, this truth shines more clearly than ever. Everything that seemed inexplicable was for good, for their spiritual growth. And so, with this new understanding, your loved one feels ready to continue their journey. They have fulfilled their mission on earth, learned what they needed to learn, and now they are prepared for what comes next. They know their path does not end here, that the evolution of the soul continues in the afterlife. But they do this with the tranquility of knowing they gave their best and lived a full and meaningful life. In this last moment of revelation, they bid farewell with love, leaving a legacy of wisdom and growth. Their earthly journey has come to an end, but their spirit continues, filled with peace, wisdom, and the certainty that everything was as it should be. Number 8, seeing beyond. As you move toward the light, you begin to see other people, those who departed before you, loved ones who wait for you with open arms. Blessed are those who are invited to the wedding supper of the Lamb. Here, in this place beyond what mortal eyes can see, souls gather in a joyous reunion. There is no more pain, no more suffering, only the purity of love that transcends death. But what you see is not just a reunion. The environment around you continues to transform into an indescribably beautiful landscape. It is unlike anything you have seen on Earth, yet at the same time, everything seems familiar, as if the paradise you once imagined has become a reality before your eyes. He who overcomes will inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he will be my son. This is the promised place, an eternal home where all promises are fulfilled. In this new heaven and new earth, everything is majestic, untainted by the corruption of the old world. The colors are more vivid, the air is purer, and every step you take leads to a place where everything is perfect, immaculate. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. Upon crossing into this unfamiliar domain, your cherished one steps into the sanctified precincts of the holy city, the New Jerusalem. Described in the book of Revelation, its streets are paved with pure gold, as clear as crystal. Darkness finds no haven here, as the resplendence of God permeates every nook and cranny with divine light. The walls are embellished with an array of precious gemstones, while gates crafted from colossal pearls stand ajar, beckoning all who have been saved. As they tread along these resplendent thoroughfares, your beloved realizes they are not solitary. Enveloping them are angels, beings of unmatched beauty and purity, who serenade them with gentle, melodious hymns. And I heard the voice of many angels around the throne, and the creatures, and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000. These celestial beings lead them towards the presence of God, where all converges into a spectacle of divine grandeur and omnipotence. At last, they arrive at the throne, where they behold the Almighty Himself, enveloped in a radiance so dazzling that direct gazing becomes impossible, yet its aura reverberates through every fiber of their essence. And I saw Him who sat on the throne, whose appearance was like jasper and carnelian, and around the throne was a rainbow that looked like an emerald. Before this exalted seat lies a sea of glass, crystal clear and serene, mirroring the immaculacy of the divine presence. Number 9, meeting with God. At that moment, as the soul becomes aware of its new life and feels full and radiant, your loved one has reached the end of their earthly life. With the last heartbeat, everything that is known fades into a whisper, and they find themselves in a completely different place, a space where time dissolves and peace envelops them. There is no more pain, no more fear, only a deep calm that fills every corner of their being. At that moment, they perceive a presence that has always accompanied them. Although they may not have realized it so clearly before, it is an overpowering sensation, an ineffable power that surrounds and saturates them with a love so pure and flawless that words fail to capture it. For now we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face. For the first time, your beloved perceives with clarity what was previously only sensed, the presence of God. This encounter transcends any terrestrial experience. Before them, a radiant light emerges, surpassing the brilliance of any sun, yet this light does not dazzle, it unveils. At their core, your cherished one perceives God not as a remote and unapproachable entity, but as the very fount of all goodness and truth. Bathed in this light, they acknowledge themselves not merely as a finite entity, but as an integral part of God's eternal design. It marks a moment of unadulterated revelation, where all uncertainties and anxieties dissolve in the divine presence. Your beloved experiences a serenity so profound that no worldly encounter could rival it. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. In this sacred communion, there exists no judgment or censure, only an unconditional love that enfolds them like a comforting mantle. Yet within this tranquility, there also exists a sense of marvel, for beholding God is not solely about witnessing a light or sensing a presence. It entails a complete comprehension, for the first time, of who God is and what it signifies to be a part of His creation. Confronted with this reality, your loved one comprehends that God is not solely the originator, but also the Alpha and Omega of all existence. In this encounter, they grasp that every instant of their life was known to God, that every stride they took was leading to this moment of truth. Even before there is a word on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it all. This profound realization fills them with gratitude and reverence, dissolving all the burdens of life with its delights and sorrows in the brilliance of this epiphany. Finally, in this encounter, there is a merging of souls, a moment when your loved one no longer feels separate from God but completely united with Him. It's a return home, a reunion with the source of all love and all life, because in Him we live and move and have our being. At this moment, your loved one not only sees God, but knows Him in a way that transcends all earthly knowledge. This meeting with God is the climax of everything your loved one has experienced. It is the end of their earthly journey and the beginning of their eternity in the presence of the divine. With this revelation, with this understanding, your loved one surrenders completely, knowing they are in the arms of a love that never ends, in the presence of a God who knew and loved them since before the beginning of time. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And so, with indescribable peace, your loved one loses themselves in the eternal light of God, where they have finally found their true home. God bless you.